Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Monday, April 22nd, 2013. There was another big earthquake in China in Sichuan province over the weekend, this one on Saturday. It was a 6.6 earthquake. It apparently has killed approximately 200 people so far, with 11,000 injured. The Chinese government has sent over 17,000 aid personnel, including soldiers, into the area. The newly named Chinese premier rushed to the area, Li Keqiang, and he was shown by CCTV eating breakfast in a tent with the aid workers. Additionally, it seems as if this has had some impact on the Chinese insurance stock prices. Chinese insurer Ping An saw its share price dip by about 1.1% earlier today. China Life was off about 2.5%. as markets are digesting the impact of the big earthquake. What's a little bit troubling is that this quake occurred on the same fault line as the 7.9 magnitude 2008 earthquake, which killed more than 90,000 people and caused economic losses of about $125 billion. There was also a pretty good-sized earthquake yesterday down in Mexico. This was a 5.9 quake. It struck the Mexican state of Michoacan last evening, caused buildings to sway about 200 miles away in Mexico City. A number of buildings in Mexico City were in fact evacuated, but there were no reports of any damage or injuries. The USGS put the quake about 202 miles west-southwest of Mexico City. Meanwhile, today in Japan, All Nippon Airways and Japan Airlines Company, ANA and JAL respectively, announced today that they had begun installing the modified batteries into their Boeing 787 Dreamliners. ANA began swapping batteries in 5 jets grounded at Narita and Haneda airports in Tokyo, as well as in Okayama and Matsuyama Airport. JAL is working on their grounded jets in Narita and Haneda. ANA has 17 Dreamliners, JAL has 7. It's going to take about 5 days to retrofit each jet. All 17 planes will be ready in about a month. They are still waiting for approval from the Japan Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism before they can fly the planes. That agency announced on Friday that they are in the final stages of the Dreamliner probe. The airlines received the manual on how to effectuate the changes from Boeing just yesterday. Meanwhile, in Germany, most of Lufthansa, Germany's national airline, has been struck today by a labor action, canceling numerous flights. Nearly all of Lufthansa's flights to German and European destinations have been canceled. Meanwhile, 46 out of 50 intercontinental flights are going to be canceled. This is a job action that's been called by the services union Verdi, which is looking for a 5.2% pay increase for 33,000 Lufthansa ground staff, plus employees of various subsidiaries, as well as cabin crew members. In Nigeria, over the weekend, one of the worst cases of violence yet perpetrated by the terrorist group Boko Haram occurred. It seems that 185 people in a fishing community in the country's far northeast ended up being basically attacked by Boko Haram. The fighting in Baga began on Friday and lasted for hours. It sent people fleeing out of the city. The government was finally able to get into the area yesterday in order to see the extent of this destruction, and they're still essentially counting the victims at this stage. Meanwhile, in the United States yesterday, the effects of the sequestration began. Air traffic controllers have begun to be affected by the non-arbitrary cuts, or I should say arbitrary cuts in the American budget process. Each controller is now being forced to take 1 mandatory day off every 2 weeks. So meanwhile, according to the FAA yesterday, flights from Philadelphia and Orlando, Florida into JFK and LaGuardia were delayed due to staffing issues. Some other people who monitor flights, such as FlightAware.com, said that in fact today will be the day when the ramp up of flights really is affected by the decrease in controllers. So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, in the United States, at about 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, the Boston police did apprehend the second suspect in the Boston Marathon bombings 1 week ago today. That individual apparently was in and out of consciousness all weekend, but as of this morning, it's been reported that he has been communicating with police by being able to write notes to them. Apparently, he may have had a self-inflicted gunshot wound through his mouth that exited in his neck. His situation is still precarious, but at least they're beginning to talk to him. It's been a big sigh of relief throughout the Boston area on Friday evening, and one of the most amazing scenes were the residents of Watertown, Massachusetts lined up clapping and applauding as the police exited the area after finally completing the operation. It was a very touching moment to see. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.